Hey warrior, welcome to day 3 of 30 days to end emotional eating, this free series that I'm doing right here on YouTube. The last 2 days were great and I am excited to talk to you about today's topic. I'm actually a little nervous to talk to you about today's topic, to be honest, because this is not an easy one to swallow. And to be honest, I was not ready to accept this in my own recovery until I was ready. And I know this may not be what you want to hear, but this is what really broke open recovery for me. And I know that it has had the same effect in a lot of others. We talk a lot about releasing restriction. We talk a lot about giving yourself permission, which ultimately all comes down to acceptance and surrender. And sometimes the scariest thing we can do in recovery is surrender control. What am I talking about? Today's topic is all about why you can't have both the goal of weight loss and overcoming your emotional eating or overeating behaviors as the two most prioritizing goals in your recovery. Why? First and foremost, taking on two big challenges at once, you're going to dilute your efforts because when you're saying yes to one, ultimately you're saying no to another. The problem here is that from where you're standing, you may think that your weight loss goal and your goal of overcoming overeating both have the same endpoint, are like just kind of two goals that are going to strengthen your actions and strengthen your recovery. But actually, these two goals are different. And because they have different outcomes, they have different pathways to getting there. And not only are these two goals different, but they actually have pathways that are going in totally different directions. So what do I mean? All right, I'm gonna read out a couple of bullet points and I'm gonna share this with you in our master document where you have all the links to each individual worksheet for each individual video, and that is right below. If I can figure out how to link it in the page or in the video itself, I'll do that. If I cannot, just look in the notes section below. But I will share with you bullet points on what coming from a weight loss mindset looks like and how it interferes with recovery, because the mindset in looking to overcome the behaviors and transform the behaviors is going to be not only from a different come from, but is actually going to have you be different inside of the recovery. So you would make different choices, you would have a different perspective, etc. Okay, so in a weight loss mindset, we know that we need calorie restriction in order to help us get towards that weight loss. So we're coming from a place of, I need to eat less. We're also coming from a place of, we have good foods and bad foods. Which can I eat? What foods can I eat that are more likely going to have me lose weight? We're just coming from that mindset. When we go into the fridge, we don't ask, what am I in the mood for? What's gonna nourish my body most? What is my body calling for? We ask, what is the thing that's going to help me lose weight? Another thing in weight loss mindset is the thought of, I shouldn't eat that because it has too many calories. I can't afford that because it has too many calories and I'm going for calorie restriction. You might also say, I can't eat that because it has too much sugar, or it has too much something, too many carbs, too much fat. You may also ask yourself, how can I distract myself from feeling hungry? How can I distract myself from the feeling of being hungry? Hungry is not a good feeling. If I'm hungry, it means I'm gonna eat and I might eat out of control. Or how can I stave off my hunger? That is a thought that you may have during a weight loss mindset. always controlling or holding yourself back in what you feel you can eat. There's always this like barrier, this boundary where you are holding yourself back. You're in restriction and you're going to think, can I have that? Should I have that? There is this very restrictive mindset when it comes to your rules, and that's not coming from a place of permission and trust. One of the goals in weight loss mindset is having a calorie deficit regardless of what your body is asking for. So it's very common that you would override messages or signals, including hunger and full cues in your body, because your main focus is calorie deficit. And so you are more looking towards that, either tracker or food journal, to tell you if you are on track or not versus listening within. You're also indirectly saying, I can't trust my body to tell me what it needs. So I'm going to look outside of myself, into a diet, into what worked for somebody else, into something outside of myself to find the answers, because what's happening inside me, I can't trust myself to know what's well and what's right for me. You're also coming from an all or nothing thinking mindset, which is I'm on a diet or I'm off it. I'm on my food rules or I'm not following them. Either all of the rules apply or none of them apply. And so that can cause you to have these moments where you do allow yourself and you release restriction, but then you punish yourself for it because it's not right. It is, you are being bad by letting go of your food rules. And that rebellious side might come out of you, which might have you overeat, or just like, you know, while your rules are off the table, we might as well just go in and indulge and overdo it. And tomorrow I'm back on my food rules and I'm in a restrictive mindset. And so, yes. Another thing is you may also find your restriction mindset is actually comforting, is actually a place that feels really good, because we do feel good when we are in control of ourselves, when we feel like I got this, I'm making healthy choices for myself, I'm in control. That actually does feel really good. But when it is so controlled that we are afraid that if we cross over or break a food rule, that we are gonna go into this territory where it's like, well, it's either bad or good, that is where we run into problems. So you may find it's really hard to surrender to this control, to this restriction, because you actually feel your best when you are following those rules. The problem is there's no permission to not have the rules at all, and the fear of losing the rules is causing you to have fear that you're going to lose control, is causing you to fear that there is no other way to keep yourself in check than what you have known to work. And I'm asking you to go into unfamiliar territory. So I understand the feelings that come up around that. All right. How is overcoming overeating behaviors? How is it different to come at this from a mindset of, I want to change my behaviors so that I start to feel good about myself inside and outside? So with this mindset, the goal is to change the relationship with the role food plays in our life. How we attach meaning to food, what emotions we attach to food, the role that food plays in our life. How do we start to change that so that the relationship is a healthy one, is a nourishing one? We are working to stop using food to disconnect from ourselves, from this mindset, and to disconnect from the world around us. We're working to stop that. And we are actively working to use food to help connect us, or to at least tune in so that we can connect to ourselves and connect to the experiences around us instead of disconnect from them. A goal is not necessarily aesthetics. We put that aesthetic goal on the back burner, Even the weight loss goal. It's not like you can't have that weight loss goal, but it is on the back burner. We're not actively going for that, but it could be, and usually is, a bonus that comes from putting all in on shifting our behaviors. So the goal is not aesthetics, but the goal is, how do I feel? Feeling my best. How much energy do I have? How good is the quality of my sleep? How do I process my emotions in a way that is satisfying and releasing? How do I listen to my body? We're gonna stop using food to stuff down the emotions that we don't want to deal with. We're going to instead invite them in, invite them to sit with us, invite us to learn something about ourselves through processing that in a way that's going to actually help us. We look at food not as good or bad, but we look at our behaviors and the manner in which we consume food in a way that can make us feel great or not great, physically, mentally, and emotionally. We're also learning to listen to what our body is asking for in all the ways, not just on the food level, not just in the hunger level. Hunger is one cue that our body sends us that it needs something. And usually it's for food, but we can experience an emotional hunger that we mix up and confuse with physical hunger. And we start to feed our emotional hunger with food, and we start to feed our physical hunger not at all, or we don't acknowledge it. And so we want to clarify those messages and start to give and nourish the parts of us that have been using different fuels that are actually not getting them anywhere. We turn inward for the answers to what we need, and that will serve us in feeling our best instead of looking outwards. And we actively work to partner with our body, to build trust in our body and with our minds to get to this. It is a learning process. It is something that we gradually become stronger and better at, just like you would become stronger and better at learning any new habit, skill, language, technique in your life. We look to nourish our mind, our body, and our soul, however that might look. And we know, like I said, that this is a learning process, that there are going to be mistakes, that there are going to be missteps along the way. We're not going to get it right every single time, but every time we do get it wrong and only we know what doesn't feel good for us, we can learn something. And listen, this is the most important part. We practice judgment free as we learn to navigate through this new territory, this new terrain. It is something completely new, but it is so powerful and worth it that this is the answer to that vision of food freedom, to not using emotions, to not using food to get through our emotions anymore. So experiment, get curious. Look at this as an opportunity to learn parts of yourself that you haven't gotten to get to know yet. And the more that you learn, the more that you dive in, the more that you go into the places where you're resisting, the more magic you are going to experience. And just like that feeling that you were looking for of balance, of inner peace, of trust, of love, ultimately, partnership, communication with your body, you will get there day by day, moment by moment. So on that note, I'm going to end this video. I hope that this was helpful. Download the worksheet where it's going to have all of these bullet points for you. And don't forget, if you haven't downloaded the free overeating guide to nighttime eating, that's available for you guys. Just share your email with me and it'll get delivered right to your email address. I'm looking forward to seeing you on day 4. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.